Do you think you know what it takes to be a parent, or that you've made up your mind about having kids? What if I told you that everything you believe might be basically outdated? And yes, Tesla has something actually to do with that. Stay with me because I'm going to dive into some surprising truths that challenge the mainstream narrative on parenting. Um, Hello, everyone, and hello, my dear friends. Welcome back. So happy that I'm still making these videos. If you're new here, welcome. And in this channel, I'm just exploring various ideas related to psychology, self-improvement, and the books that I've been reading and learning and enjoying and sharing with others, hoping that maybe even just one person can find them joyful or beneficial as well. If you've seen my videos, but that probably I have not talked about this topic, but this is something that I've been recently reading a book about it, which I will come to that later. So recently I picked up a book from our local library here. The title is So When Are You Having Kids? Right? I love that idea. It feels very natural. And here is basically the book itself. I hope that it's clear enough. And the author is Jordan Davidson, and the subtitle reads as The Definitive Guide for Those Who Aren't Sure If, When, or How They Want to Become Parents. It's not your typical parenting guide. Instead, it offers an inclusive, research-backed exploration of the decision to have children or not. And believe it or not, I went through a very thorough and intensive process of filtering so many other books, and I ended up and landed on this book. Two insights from the book that really stood out to me. This question that whether having kids is actually an investment, financially, emotionally, and otherwise or not, and the fact that many people keep changing their minds about wanting children, like the fact that people always change their decisions on that topic. Davidson, the author, delves into the real costs of raising children, highlighting that the average cost to raise a child to the age of 18 in the country of the US exceeds $230,000. Beyond finances, she also discusses the emotional and time investments involved. The book challenges the notion that children are a guaranteed return on investment, emphasizing that fulfillment isn't necessarily assured. Keep this in mind because I might add a little bit of a twist, a personal twist on this, which I believe is very important to keep in mind while also knowing and having the numbers and facts as well. One of the most compelling points is that people's desires about having children are static, right? It's not something that remains the same, basically. Davidson shares stories, many stories, which makes this book very appealing, as well as research showing that individuals often change their minds. Those set on having kids sometimes reconsider, and quite vice versa. It basically underscores the unpredictability of our life choices. So basically, it presents a research and science of unpredictability being very predictable, especially when it comes to this specific area. Now, you might be wondering, where does Tesla fit into all this? Think about it. Tesla didn't just produce electric cars, it basically revolutionized how we perceive transportation, autonomy, and even our daily routines. Similarly, our views on parenting are evolving as well. Technology, societal shifts, personal experiences are all reshaping what it means to be a parent, especially in today's world. And let me be clear and honest, I'm not necessarily a big fan of Tesla or the company, or, and I'm not also refuting it, but whether we like it or we deny it, we cannot, I think, in my opinion, deny that Tesla in recent years has changed our lives in so many different ways. It's funny to think about Elon Musk, the owner of the Tesla company, who has invested so much of his time and energy entirely in his company and moving forward the technology, and yet that same person has a fair good number of kids, right? So yes, if this video, by the way, is resonating with you, please consider subscribing and sharing it with someone else that might be navigating these decisions. Your support helps me certainly continue exploring such topics and hopefully bringing some value to others as well. And I really appreciate for anyone who has already subscribed and has been part of this journey. Also, similar to these ideas, I've already created some other videos. One is about the asymmetrical return of risk. The title is about Picasso and whether he was a real genius or gambler. Check that one out as well. So I also want to end this video with two very personal observations that I have in my close relatives. I have one relative that this person decided to get married and have kids, and it seems that seeing this person, he has been much more motivated or mindful about his budget, like thinking about finance and savings and investment. And at the same time, from the very same family, another sibling of that person didn't decide even to get married in the first place, let alone having kids. And I've seen that he had some other advantages that the other person didn't have. And even this really depends on your perspective, right? Personally, at this point, I think the relative that I've seen that has decided to have kids has a more meaningful life, a richer life, whether it's financially or emotionally, but even that can be changed. So let me wrap up again, because I really want to make sure that I'm delivering on the promise of the title. So the book addresses this question, whether it's real investment or not. It says it's very unclear, and it really depends on your own trajectory, right? So for example, let's say you spend so much money on buying a new iPhone, and then you never know whether it's gonna drop or not, or something happens to that iPhone or whatever. On the other hand, maybe you can make a very good use of that phone, and it's gonna be a big return of your investment, right? But what the part that was very sort of relieving and very clear for me from the book was that many research and many study and surveys are showing that people constantly change their mind. So those who said never in the world, I'm never gonna have kids, just maybe 2 years later they wanted so badly to have kids, and quite the opposite. Those who thought they want to have kids, they also have changed. So those are two major takeaways that I got from this book personally, and I also certainly recommend anyone reading and getting the book. Thank you very much. Again, remember to subscribe, and see you later.